If you want to buy a Yamaha CS-80, it will cost you a lot of money. I actually flew all the way to Japan to try one out. However, there are some VSTs that can give you a CS-80 experience that will be much cheaper. In today's video, I'm going to be checking out one of those VSTs and reviewing it. It is called the Model 77 plugin by Softube. Quick disclosure, Softube sent over a copy of the Model 77 over for review. It expires within a year, but Softube has no say in the content of this video, so let's get into it. The Model 77 is a 2-layer synthesizer with 8 voices. The 2 layers allow 2 different timbres that can be stacked and detuned at the same time. One of the first things I like to do when testing out a new synthesizer is checking out the presets, assuming it has presets. So let's dive into it. Right off the bat, I can say that I enjoy the amount of presets that come with the Model 77. There's also a preset manager that I was able to give a rating to some of my favorite patches. You can also search the patches and organize them by certain tags. For example, I could search up pads and it'll give me a list of presets with the tags pads, which is pretty helpful. It's also really easy to map MIDI parameters to my Akai keyboard. All you have to do is press the MIDI CC button, then click enter MIDI CC, then you press the parameter you want to map, wiggle the input on your controller, and it's mapped. Also make sure to save your MIDI profile after you are done mapping. Editing a stock preset and resaving it as a user preset is a simple process, and recalling it afterwards is straightforward. Now the synth sounds pretty good, but I wonder how it would sound like with some effects. In this example, I'll be using the Valhalla Supermassive VST, which is free by the way. Adding additional effects to a stock synthesizer is nothing new. I do this all the time with my hardware synths, which is why I have so many physical pedals. By layering additional effects to the Model 77, you could achieve a really large sound, and I'm loving where this is going. Now let's go over some of the attributes of the Model 77. It has 2 layers, each with the same type of structure, a VCO that outputs to a sawtooth or pulse wave, along with noise into a series of 2 12 dB per octave filters, 1 high pass filter and 1 low pass filter. The filter output is then mixed with the pure sine output of the VCO going into the VCA. There's a ring modulator that feeds into a reverb mix, which emulates a vintage digital hardware rack. There's also a hidden expansion panel that gives you some additional parameters, and there are 4 sliders that deal with aftertouch. These 4 sliders all interact with the LFO. You also have 2 different sustain modes and a slider that affects the release of the times of all the VCAs and VCFs envelopes for both layers. I really enjoy having access to these sustain parameters. Alright, let's go over some of my thoughts about this synth. The sounds are pretty awesome, and it has an analog feeling to it even though it's digital. That being said, I think in order to unlock the full potential of the Model 77, applying additional effects such as reverb, delay, a colorizer, or chorus is probably needed. When it comes to the Model 77, I love the preset management and organization. Saving user patches is straightforward, and the tags are a great way to organize presets. When it comes to the UI, I want to see both layers at the same time. Also, when it comes to the hidden expansion panel, it blocks a section of the keyboard. I think it would have been nice to have the expansion panel be a separate window or hang out on the side somewhere. I don't know why it has to block the view of the keys. During this review, I wish I had a MIDI controller that had more inputs so I can map more parameters. Again, this is a me thing, but it's just something to consider because for those who have smaller MIDI controllers or keyboards, you might not have the control that you want over this synthesizer. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the Model 77, although I would like to see those UI changes I mentioned. I think if you're looking for a CS-80 VST, this is a really good option. Is it a 1-to-1 ratio to the Yamaha CS-80? No, it's not. I don't think any VST will ever really be able to do that, but it's a lot more affordable and it sounds pretty good in my opinion. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.